Alright, here we are, back for more. I've done this magazine a few times, or well, I guess one other time here. This is Rue Morgue, if you can see the whole cover. This issue, with the beautiful shot of Vampira on the cover, this is April 2008, so it was a while ago. I remember seeing this in the store one time. It was a record store, and I don't know why they were selling magazines. I didn't buy it, but I should have, and then I went back later to pick it up because I wanted it, and they weren't selling magazines anymore. It was like a 1 month this record store was selling magazines. Anywho, so I went to the Rue Morgue website and just bought this as a back issue, which is nice because it's a Canadian publication, so I don't have to worry about exchanging PayPal money to U.S. funds for shipping and handling. The main reason I wanted this issue was not for the Vampire interview, which was excellent. She just died recently. Mela Nurmi was her real name. Very strange woman, but she just died a little over a year ago, I think. So there's a bunch of stuff in here about her. But the main reason I wanted this magazine was because skimming through it in the store, I came across this article, I'm trying to find it here, about a guy who wrote a book. His name is Del James. The article is called The Devil You Know. Now, I'm going to take you down a trip down memory lane here. Way back in the mid-90s, early 90s, when Guns N' Roses was huge after the Use Your Illusion albums came out, they had a couple of videos. One of their bigger ones was for November Rain. And at the end of the video, there was a little kind of scrawl at the end that said, based on the story Without You by Del James. So, me being the guy that liked to read everything, and this is way back before Google, nobody had internet back then. So I, did all these library searches and stuff for, who the hell is Del James and what is his story? And I'm thinking it's some sort of like classic American short story like The Telltale Heart or, something that everybody would know. And I couldn't find this guy anywhere. Nobody heard of him. Nobody knew what the hell I was talking about. So I didn't know what this story was without you. What was this video all about? This Guns N' Roses video. So a couple years after that, I was in the bookstore and I happened upon this book called The Language of Fear. And the cover of the book was a bouquet of roses atop a coffin, just like at the end of the November Rain video. And there was a little title blurb on the cover that said includes the short story Without You that inspired the #1 Guns N' Roses video. So I was like, okay, I must buy this book now. Bought the book, promptly forgot all about it, didn't read it, which was typical of me when I was in high school. But I picked it up again, I don't know, a couple of years back, and started reading. I think I read a couple of the stories in it when I first got it, but I didn't read the Without You story, so I didn't figure it out right away. But anyways, I picked it up a while ago because I read when I'm at work on my coffee break, so I always have a book there. So I grabbed this book and I was reading it, and wow, did it ever suck. It was all short stories, and they were terrible. I could see myself really enjoying it when I was in high school because it was very indicative of the sort of stuff I wrote about and the style in which I wrote when I was in high school. Very sort of, very amateur and just trying very much to sound, very sort of writerly and important, but just, it was just terrible. And I was hating it, but even when I pick up a book that just sucks, I still, once I get a little ways through it, it's like, well, I may as well just finish it just to say I finished it and then just get rid of it or whatever. So I was reading the book, and it was terrible. It was just juvenile. And whenever I come across kind of like crappy books, I like to go on Amazon and find the book reviews and see, like, am I the only one think this book is terrible? So I was reading all these reviews on Amazon by other people that have read it, and just these raving reviews of how great this book was and the best short stories they'd ever read, and I was like, maybe it is me, but it's not. That book sucked. It was terrible. But the one thing I found out on Amazon was that used copies of that book were going for like ridiculous, and this is just a little paperback novel, and they were going for ridiculous amounts of money. So after I read that, I was like, okay, good, I'm selling this damn thing for a smack load of cash. So I put it on eBay, and I think I sold the paperback novel for like $60, $65, something like that. Which, for like a $7.99 paperback is pretty damn good. And I'm always very particular about keeping my stuff in very good condition. just on the off chance that, A, I don't like wrecking my stuff and then have to, replace it, to spend money to replace it because I've wrecked it. And B, I always in the back of my mind think, what if this is worth something someday? Which I know is kind of stupid, but sometimes you never know, and that's a pretty good example of that. I kept that book in pretty good shape and paid off because I got, a fair chunk of cash for it. But pretty good thing that I sold it when I did, because according to this article, which is a raving review about this guy's book and how great these short stories were, this book's coming back out in print because it was out of print for a while, which is the main reason why it was so much money on Amazon. So they're republishing this book, whatever the publishing company is. So it's probably a good thing that I sold it when I did, because if it was mass market available paperback, then the price of the original is probably going to drop pretty good. So I got rid of it just in time. I haven't seen this out in stores again. It's called The Language of Fear by Del James, in case anybody's curious. And I don't think this guy wrote anything else, or it says he's working on some other new novel. But apparently did a whole bunch of like tour managing and what is it? Former writer, former rock journalist / tour manager / video director / horror aficionado. I don't know what kind of tours he managed or videos he directed, but the stories that he wrote were just not good. Not to say that he hasn't improved. He might have. Who knows? But for anybody that's curious, and I will say that the story Without You, that was the basis for November Rain. That was probably the best one of the book. It actually was pretty good, but the rest of them were just very, very 10th grade level. So anyways, that's another reminder of I think Stephen King said this. A good way to inspire yourself to write is just to have a look at some of the other crap that is being published and people are paying money for. Because if you ever read something and just said, what, this sucks, I can do better than this, that's probably a good impetus for you to try and outdo whoever's actually making money in the business. So anyway, that's all for now. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon.